Mess with me, and I'll make you regret every second of it. Most people don't realize Tom Berenger almost snagged the Indiana Jones role before Harrison Ford made it legendary. Even wilder? He nearly played the complete opposite character in Platoon before landing that stone-cold Sergeant Barnes part that got him nominated for an Oscar. Originally, they wanted Berenger for Sergeant Elias, the hero role that Willem Dafoe eventually crushed. Two totally different personalities, two completely separate storylines, one movie. That right there shows you everything about Berenger's range as a performer, raw intensity mixed with crazy versatility that kept Hollywood guessing for decades. So where did Tom Berenger disappear to? Let's dig into this. Thomas Michael Moore came into the world May 31st, 1949, right in the heart of Chicago, Illinois. His old man worked the printing press at the Chicago Sun-Times, and young Tom grew up surrounded by that old-school Irish Catholic vibe, the type of household that drilled hard work, loyalty, and staying humble into your bones. Those working-class foundations stuck with him through every role he ever played. After grinding through the University of Missouri studying journalism, Berenger actually worked editing copy for a minute, but something felt off. He'd always been obsessed with stories, just not from some boring desk job. So he switched everything up, packed his bags for New York, and dove headfirst into acting training. Early 1970 seconds. He started hustling through regional theater gigs and soap opera parts, including some time on One Life to Live, but Hollywood's radar picked him up fast. 1977 dropped him into a small but absolutely chilling part in Looking for Mr. Goodbar, playing this seductive but dangerous hookup across from Diane Keaton. Then The Dogs of War hit in 1980, putting him on screen with Christopher Walken and establishing Berenger as this solid, physical force that directors couldn't ignore. Few years roll by, and he's turning heads again in The Big Chill back in 1983, playing Sam Weber, this brooding TV actor reconnecting with his old college crew. That performance showed off some quiet emotional weight hiding under all that tough guy exterior. But the real career-defining moment was charging straight at him, ready to drop him right into the middle of a brutal war zone. 1986 brought the role that would reshape everything Tom Berenger touched from that point forward. Oliver Stone's Platoon came at audiences like a freight train, raw, vicious, and deeply personal, because Stone actually lived through Vietnam. The whole film carried this desperate urgency most war movies couldn't touch. Initially, they cast Berenger as Sergeant Elias, the film's moral compass. But Stone flipped the script last minute, handing Elias to Willem Dafoe and asking Berenger to become the scarred, psychologically shattered Sergeant Barnes instead. Risky move that shocked everyone watching. Berenger, who'd built his reputation playing troubled but ultimately good guys, jumped into a character that was morally destroyed and absolutely terrifying. His Sergeant Barnes wasn't some cartoon villain. He represented complete moral destruction, like a walking war injury wrapped in military gear. That performance stands as one of the most disturbing things the 1980 seconds ever produced, and it scored him that Best Supporting Actor Oscar nomination. But what made Barnes truly unforgettable wasn't the rage, it was Berenger's insane control. He didn't ham it up or go over the top, he let the violence and that empty stare do all the talking. Late 80s kept the momentum rolling strong. Shoot to Kill dropped in 1988 with Sidney Poitier, delivering serious survival thriller energy. Betrayed that same year cast him as an FBI agent working opposite Deborah Winger. Someone to Watch Over Me in 1987. Directed by Ridley Scott himself, brought stylish noir vibes while adding some romantic complexity to Berenger's toolkit. That film didn't crush the box office, but it revealed this softer, conflicted side to Berenger: romantic tension, moral struggles, the whole package. People sleep on that one, but it deserves another look. Then came the curveball nobody predicted. After years grinding through intense dramas and morally twisted characters, Tom Berenger did something that caught everyone off guard. He actually relaxed and had some fun. 1000. 989's Major League proved he could deliver genuine comedy alongside all that intensity. Berenger played Jake Taylor, this washed-up catcher dragging his broken-down body back to lead a bunch of misfits trying to save the Cleveland Indians from disaster. Between the bad knee, dying career, and messy romance with Rene Russo, Jake became way more than comic relief. He held that whole ragtag team together emotionally. The movie exploded at the box office. People ate up the energy, the trash talk between teammates, and those lovable losers. But Berenger anchored everything by playing it completely straight, while chaos erupted around him, giving the film actual heart. He came across as rough around the edges but genuinely likable, and for the first time in forever, totally relaxed on screen. Major League cracked open doors to way more diverse roles. Early 90s, Berenger stopped being just that scarred face from Platoon. Suddenly he's the everyday guy, the detective, the coach, the struggling dad. He commanded attention without ever raising his voice, and audiences bought whatever he was selling. This stretch represented peak Berenger hits mixing with near misses and critically respected work that kept his name circulating through Hollywood. But underneath all that success, some cracks were already starting to show. Early 90s found Tom Berenger locked into his perfect zone. These tough, quiet dudes caught in explosive situations, usually carrying serious moral weight behind those intense eyes. He never dominated rooms by being the loudest, but you always believed he could walk straight through flames without even flinching. That whole vibe crystallized perfectly in Sniper, 1993's military thriller, where Berenger starred as Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Beckett. This hardened Marine Scout sniper, paired with some green rookie played by Billy Zane, both stuck on a deadly mission deep in the Panamanian jungle. Luis Llosa directed it, the Anaconda guy. And while critics didn't shower it with praise, action fans absolutely connected with it, gritty, tense, and surprisingly deep. Sniper became this surprise hit, pulling solid box office numbers before absolutely dominating on VHS and cable TV. What caught people off guard was how it wasn't just mindless action. The film actually dug into the psychological damage that comes from taking lives from distance, and Berenger's haunted performance added unexpected emotional layers. Audiences responded big time. Sniper ended up spawning a whole franchise, with Berenger coming back for 4 more over the years. Pretty impressive for a film that initially flew completely under everyone's radar. 3 years later, Berenger brought that same no BS attitude to a completely different battlefield with The Substitute in 1996. This time he plays Jonathan Shale, some mercenary who goes undercover as a high school teacher to destroy a gang terrorizing his girlfriend's school. The plot runs a bit ridiculous, but it totally worked. Timing was perfect right in the middle of that dangerous minds wave, tapping into all those mid-90 seconds fears about school violence and inner-city chaos, except Berenger taught lessons with his fists and guns instead of inspirational speeches. Critics split down the middle, but audiences showed up strong. Moderate box office success turned into home video gold, especially with revenge thriller fans. It brought the violence, the noise, the shameless entertainment, and Berenger committed to it 100%. The Substitute's success confirmed what had been building quietly for years. Tom Berenger had evolved into a legit action hero, even though he never actively chased that label. Between those action flicks and prestige work like Gettysburg, where he played Confederate General James Longstreet with serious dramatic weight, Berenger carved out his own unique space. He wasn't hunting superstardom, just working consistently and building a fan base one gritty performance at a time. The decade closed with him as one of the most recognizable tough guys in cinema, not leading summer blockbusters, but that dependable presence you were always pumped to see pop up during late-night movie marathons or on that worn-out VHS sitting in your local rental shop. Then the 2000s rolled in, action movies shifted towards slick CGI spectacles, and Berenger's blue-collar toughness started feeling like something from a different era entirely. By the 2000s, Berenger wasn't pulling those career-defining roles anymore. No more prestige war epics, no gritty theatrical thrillers. Instead, his career took this quieter path. He kept working non-stop, but most projects barely registered on anyone's radar. Handful of TV movies and independent thrillers scattered around. He appeared in stuff like True Blue, Stiletto, and Breaking Point, solid work in lower-budget productions that didn't generate headlines. But he never mailed it in. Whether playing detectives, contract killers, or exhausted soldiers, Berenger brought serious gravity to roles that could have been completely forgettable in lesser hands. He also jumped back into familiar territory, bringing his character back for Sniper 2 and Sniper 3. These sequels didn't create much noise, but original fans appreciated him, sticking with the role and maintaining that continuity. Rumors floated around occasionally, including whispers he was up for bigger films like Training Day or Jarhead. Nothing confirmed. But Berenger's name still meant something in casting offices. Felt more like he was waiting patiently for the right opportunity to show itself. Then it finally arrived from the most unexpected source possible. Christopher Nolan, 2010, brought Tom Berenger back into the spotlight through a film nobody expected. Christopher Nolan's mind-bending Inception. Playing Peter Browning, this Godfather-type advisor to Cillian Murphy's Robert Fisher, Berenger didn't dominate screen time, but he absolutely maximized every second. In a film constructed around shifting realities and subconscious manipulation, his performance stayed measured, solid, and surprisingly moving, like emotional bedrock holding steady in all that dream world insanity. Critics recognized Berenger's presence as this smart throwback casting choice that added extra weight for older viewers who remembered his Platoon or Big Chill days. Even the AV Club pointed out how surreal it felt seeing Berenger again in a major studio release an actor who once carried entire movies, now sliding into a supporting role with effortless confidence. Christopher Nolan explained his casting decision, saying, "We needed someone bringing instant recognition and emotional history. Tom delivers that the second you see him, there's trust and depth that doesn't require explanation." This wasn't some comeback to leading man territory, and that wasn't the goal. But Inception reminded everyone how much Berenger still had to offer, even in limited capacity. No showboating, no scene-stealing attempts, just that signature, understated intensity he'd perfected over decades. Perfect way to re-emerge. And for younger viewers who missed his prime years, it sparked genuine curiosity. Who is this guy? And what else has he done? Post-Inception. Berenger didn't magically jump back into blockbuster world, but that role definitely cracked some doors open. 2012 brought him into the Emmy-winning miniseries Hatfields and McCoys, working alongside Kevin Costner and Bill Paxton as Uncle Jim Vance. Berenger delivered this unsettling intensity that critics called one of his strongest late-career performances. That role scored him a Primetime Emmy Award, finally getting major recognition from an award circuit that had mostly overlooked him for years. He also returned yet again to the Sniper franchise, showing up in Sniper, Legacy, and later Sniper, Assassin's End, keeping that continuity alive for the dedicated fan base. These were smaller productions, but Berenger approached them with the same professional commitment he brought to everything. On top of that, he's grabbed smaller parts in indie films and occasional TV spots, not chasing fame, just consistently showing up and doing the work. Berenger's been married 4 times, has 6 kids, and keeps most of his personal life locked down tight, though we know he's passionate about American history, education, and his political views. He even launched the Tom Berenger Acting Scholarship, supporting young theater students. Word is he splits time between South Carolina and Utah, enjoying life away from Hollywood's constant chaos. Even with that peaceful existence, Berenger couldn't completely dodge controversy. 2012 threw him into a legal battle with a former spouse over property and trust fund disputes, rare public drama that briefly pushed him back into headlines. Still, Berenger stayed quiet, letting lawyers handle business while focusing on family and career. Tom Berenger doesn't always pop up first when people discuss legendary American actors. But maybe that needs to change. He never made noise about his career, never courted media attention, but throughout the 80s and 90s, he quietly delivered some of Hollywood's most compelling work. Sometimes we forget just how incredible that run really was. If you stuck around this long, seriously appreciate it. I drop 2 detailed retrospectives weekly, so if you're into cult classics, forgotten actors, or straight-up cinematic nostalgia, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, drop a comment telling me which actor you want covered next. Thanks for watching, and I'm genuinely looking forward to connecting with you in the next one.